Chapter 7. It is a frigid morning. Little Mikey is sitting in the man Gordon's Toyota Corolla. Outside, country he has never seen is flashing by. Outside, the town of his birth is gone. This is a different world, Gordon's world, and together they are humming to somewhere new. Little Mikey feels a surge of excitement. He's moving. Silence settles in the car, each aware of the new stranger. Do you like surfing? Sorry, Uncle? Surfing. I saw you looking at my surfing magazine. I thought perhaps that's why you felt comfortable getting in. Oh yes, ventures little Mikey in a small voice. I do. I like surfing. I don't know very much about it, though. Gordon nods. It's a great sport. I've been surfing since I was your age. He shakes his head. It's beautiful, being out on the sea. But I haven't done it in a while. No time, you see. He smiles and then winks at little Mikey. No time. Little Mikey nods in agreement, not quite understanding the man. You don't need to pay me. Gordon is gesturing to the money note in little Mikey's fingers. Put that in your pocket and put your bag on the back seat. Make yourself comfortable. He takes hold of little Mikey's backpack and heaves it behind him, and then he pats the boy's knee. Little Mikey is surprised for a moment as his backpack disappears from view, but then he subsides. Gordon's car is warm and cozy. Did you perhaps go to the show yesterday, Uncle? No, there was a show in Freiburg. Oh yes, it happens every year. My friend was competing in the strongman competition. Gordon laughs. Ah, I wish I'd seen it. No, I slept outside of Freiburg last night. I've been driving all across the country. He taps his fingers on the steering wheel. Where are you going, by the way? To Grootstad. Gordon glances at him, surprised. On your own? Yes, I'm going to meet my mama there. But Gordon takes another look at the boy. Do you know how far it is? Little Mikey shakes his head. It's 3 days' drive, and you'd have to go on the highway. Gordon shakes his head. That's very bad. This isn't the highway? Oh no, this is just a little country road. Little Mikey nods. It's okay. I gotta go and see my mama. I promised her. Why isn't she traveling with you? She can't. Gordon eyes the boy. He's so tiny. His feet don't even touch the bottom of the footwell. Which way are you going to go? Which way? Yeah, I don't know. Well, there are 2 main ways. You can take Highway 1 or 3. Which one is quicker? It's difficult to say. Are you going to Grootstad? Maybe. Gordon stares out at the road. It depends. Little Mikey nods, unsure what he means. If you go, which way will you take? Oh, I would definitely take Highway 1. The road is actually longer, but it's much easier to drive. You don't have to go up the escarpment. What's that? The escarpment, it's like a mountain in the middle of the country. It's so big you only know it's a mountain when you go up or down the side, because when you're on the top it's flat and you can't see the end of it. Highway 1 takes a long, gentle way up you almost don't notice, but Highway 3 climbs right up the side. There are a lot of accidents. The drivers of big trucks fall asleep and go over the side, or smash into other cars when their trucks roll down the side. And once you get up there, the air is so thin you can hardly breathe. It takes 2 days to get used to it. Little Mikey swallows. That's why I would take Highway 1. You can take your time, you can take little outings away from the road. There are so many things to see in the country, and things to eat. Little Mikey turns his eyes to the road ahead. Even now the country is changing from the fields that he has known. The land is spreading out. The only hills are those in the far distance, and the farmlands are gone behind them. Now it is bush that lines the roadside, hardy plants built for harsh summers, today drinking winter's mist. I'm going to Silvertown, says Gordon suddenly. Why don't you come with me there? We can phone your mama from there and make some arrangements. Is Silvertown on the way to Grootstad? No, but we can figure out a better way for you to get to Grootstad from there. Little Mikey shakes his head. Thank you, Uncle, but I need to do what my mama asked. I can't let her down. Your mother asked you to go to Grootstad? Yes, I think it's the best for me to go straight there. I see. They drive, the land revolving beside them. Why are you going to Silvertown, Uncle? My home is there. He sighs. Everything comes to an end. That's what I've found. Sometimes it's expected, and sometimes not. But once the end has come, you've got to let it happen. He points, a finger touching the windshield. We're coming up to the turn. I'm afraid you have a decision to make. Left will take you to Highway 3 and right to Highway 1 in Silvertown. Little Mikey stares ahead. There is a green sign looming over the intersection. Silvertown, Highway 1, is printed in big white letters with an arrow to the right. Mikey, I want to ask you a game. Come with me to Silvertown. It is a very dangerous road that you want to take on your own. He turns to look at him. His pale eyes seem misted with worry. Reconsider. We can phone your mama from my home. Little Mikey is caught by his eyes. He swallows. Thank you, Uncle. I didn't know it was so far to Grootstad. Gordon smiles, a strange, tight smile, pulled across the teeth. But I have my plans. I must stick to them. The corners of Gordon's mouth turn sour. You have no idea, a little boy like you. He turns his eyes back to the road, angry. You are still in such a tiny little part of the world, an easy part. As you get closer to Grootstad, he shakes his head. The world is a dangerous place. I'm very sorry, Uncle. My mama told me to go to Grootstad as quickly as I can. Gordon nods, sadly. Well, then you leave me no choice. He presses a button on the dashboard. All 4 doors in the car go click. Gordon stares straight ahead, his hands on the wheel, his knuckles white. I'm sorry, Mikey, but I can't let you hitchhike to Grootstad on your own. It won't be right of me, as an adult. Uncle, you're going to have to come with me. But I don't want to. Gordon shakes his head. If your mother can't look after you, then I'm going to have to do it. Not everyone can avoid their responsibilities in this world. There is already too much heartache. Tears appear in Gordon's eyes. Do you understand? He turns to little Mikey. I can't just let you go on your own when it's unsafe. Someone needs to look after you. You deserve that. Little Mikey doesn't respond. He's frozen, unsure. Tell me that you understand. I think so. Gordon nods, relieved, and places his hand over little Mikey's, giving it a reassuring squeeze. Thank you. I'm glad. I don't want you to be harmed. His hand moves to little Mikey's knee and he squeezes it, too. The intersection is nearly upon them. Gordon's foot leaves the accelerator and touches the brake, slowing the car. His cell phone rings. He leans forward, fishing in the box beneath the car's radio. He pulls out the phone and puts it to his ear. Hello? Jean. Gordon steers the car off the road onto the yellow line and the shoulder a little way before the intersection. Yes, Jean, that makes sense. Little Mikey watches and listens, and then he reaches forward and hits the button that Gordon used to lock the car, and all the doors go click. He pushes open his door and swings himself out onto the road and steps away from the car. Then he leans forward and pushes the door closed before stepping away again. Through the window, Gordon is staring at him, his phone to his ear. Little Mikey can't look away from his strange, tear-streaked eyes. Suddenly Gordon sneers, the phone still to his ear. He points an angry finger at Mikey and then he guns the car. It squeals away, a passing Isuzu pickup honking as the Corolla swerves into traffic and speeds away in the direction of Silvertown. Little Mikey watches it go. A blue Nissan arrives at the intersection. The driver, a young man of about 20, peering through the window at the boy. Little Mikey looks away, not knowing what to do, and after a moment the car moves on. Tears well in little Mikey's eyes. His clothes are in his backpack on Gordon's back seat. His mama's food, everything is in the backpack. His hand flies to his pocket. Yes, the envelope is there. He stares at his hand on his pocket for a moment, and then he begins to walk, away from the intersection, away from Freeburg and Silvertown, on the route of Highway 3, on the way to Grootstad. He shivers. The cold is about him once again. At least he has his jersey. Little Mikey slips his hand into his pocket. His money is still in there. Big Jan's, the removal man's, and the bit his mama gave him. And something else. He pulls it out. The hard plastic of his rider in his hand. A howling begins behind him, growing out of the far distance. He turns to it, ready to run into the bush if it is Gordon. He squints, looking for those strange eyes peering out. But it's not a Corolla. It's a red City Golf speeding along, the driver not even glancing at Little Mikey as he zooms past. Silence descends, the silence of the empty road. Little Mikey turns and begins to walk. He is happy to be invisible once again. Well, what do we do now, Mr. Stansfield? He holds the rider out in front of him, the helmeted man with the silver visor looking back. Do what your mama told you. Little Mikey answers himself out loud, the words settling in the open air. Little Mikey nods. He knew the answer even before asking. He limps along. Likely, it begins to rain. Two hours later, Little Mikey still hasn't stuck his hand out for a lift. The road is nearly empty, but every so often the howl of a car begins, far away, bearing down on him through the pattening rain, and he is too afraid to hail it. Instead, he walks. The tar is comfort, as is the silence and invisibility. He walks with his head down, his arms folded around the book, and the day spirals on. The rain stops and a pale sun peers through the clouds, and still he walks. I'm so stupid, he thinks, so stupid. At every beat of a new engine he turns, checking to see whether it's Gordon, and when he's certain it isn't, turns and walks again, ignoring the vehicle. His ankle is pounding. Finally he sits, head down, looking at nothing but the speckled tar between his legs. I'm so stupid. He slides the rider onto his lap, studying the face, letting it break apart into shades of colors, into shapes within the colors, until there is no face at all. And then he uncrosses his eyes and the man returns, resolute, unflinching, and brave. There is nothing in the world but him. And then Little Mikey becomes aware of something, the beating of his heart. He looks up suddenly. He has been studying the toy for so long that he has forgotten about the road. From the other side of the tar, something is watching him. A tiny deer. Hello, says Little Mikey. The buck watches a moment more and then dances away. In the emptiness the animal leaves behind, Little Mikey realizes something. The bush is full of sound. Now that he's heard it, the chorus rises, a solid wall of sound, that of birds calling the rain. He regards the bush, a sea of green and brown bursting with hidden life. A cold wind rises against his cheek. Goodbye, little buck. He puts his hands onto the tar and stands. Slowly, he walks.